Conklin and Company with 13 ABC Action News anchor Lee Conklin. First with what's happening behind the headlines. And Take 3, our panel of political analysts.
Morning, everybody. Welcome into another edition of Conklin and Company. Today on the program, surviving, looking back on one of the nastiest storms we've seen. When you combine the snow, the wind, the cold, one of the nastiest storms we've really seen in decades. We're going to talk with Chief Meteorologist Jay Burschback on the program a little bit later today about the storm that really debilitated much of the area this past week. Now in the midst of a kind of a messy January thaw. Also, shooing the flu, easier said than done right now. The problem is the flu shot you got back in the fall may not do you that much good with this particular strain. The director of the Lucas County Health Department, Toledo Lucas County Health Department, Dr. David Grossman in studio as well. But first, looking ahead to 2014, we're underway now, but from a legislative standpoint in Columbus, you know about the acrimony in Washington. We're here to talk to Tim Brown, longtime Wood County Commissioner, now representative in Ohio House District number 3, and it's great to have you on the program, Tim.
It's good to be with you again, Lee.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and yours.
You know, hope you got through this storm in good shape.
Like everybody else,
yeah.
Just obeyed, stayed home, and wasn't part of the problem out on the road. So it was probably a tough time for a lot of folks to be snowed in for 2 days like that.
Yeah.
But
and school out for
to
most of the week, and from an economic standpoint.
Sure.
As well.
Yeah, I saw national statistics saying how much this will cost the American economy. Delayed travel, airlines, the folks that couldn't get out to buy things. It's a pretty interesting phenomena.
Looking ahead now.
Yeah.
Longtime Wood County Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
But you're coming off your freshman year in Columbus. Learning process, the ability to get things done. How did you mix the two, and where do you stand going into year number 2 now that you're up for election again in 2014?
Right, and no sooner get the first year under the belt and then it's time to run again. You know, the first thing I tell folks when I get back home is thank you for not sending me to Washington. I can't imagine working in that climate. In Columbus, we're still able to get things done. Every bill I've sponsored or co-sponsored has had broad bipartisan support, and the majority of folks in Columbus are looking for ways to get ourselves through this difficult and challenging economy, and that's a good thing.
I think by and large you're an optimistic lawmaker.
I think you have to be.
Right? Well, but you mentioned the acrimony. Well, I mentioned the acrimony in Washington, but they did come to terms, Congress, on a 2014 budget. In Columbus, we don't see nearly that level of a rancor that we see in Washington. It's much better working environment.
I think it is. It has been, in my experience so far. You know, the majority of folks realize that almost every corner of the state has been touched by this bad economy, and it's challenging to get things turned around. And we have a mission, and you know, the majority of bills you see are somewhat economic or jobs related, and that seems to be the focus of most of the members right now.
Yeah, and that's yours. And every time I've seen you speak publicly, it has been about the economy. Let's go back to House Bill 2, right?
Sure.
Or that you sponsored, right?
I did indeed. Yeah, my first bill.
And that is that if someone is on unemployment, they must register with the state registry, that they're out actively looking for work?
Right. In order now, and the bill was signed into law by the governor ceremonially in August, and has been phased in over the past few months. The bill requires simply, if you're unemployed and you wish to collect unemployment insurance, you have to register with the local county Ohio Means Jobs office. And it kind of stems from what we did when I was a county commissioner with injured workers. When we first told our employees we were going to call their doctors to find out just how injured they were and could we get them back in to do something simple, even sitting at a desk answering the phones, we found that the quicker we got people engaged in the process of work, being around their colleagues, they recovered quicker. And the same is true for those who are unemployed. You sit at home and you can develop the bad habits, Lee. You can watch too much TV, eat the wrong foods, and it can lead to depression. So minute one, we wanted people to be engaged with the people on the front lines of helping them to recover work.
Okay, so you're at the front lines, but we see the situation in Washington, and as we tape here late in the week, there's still a debate ongoing, and perhaps there will be a deal done by the time this airs on Sunday morning, an extension of unemployment benefits for that 99 weeks.
Sure.
Question is, where's the money come from? You know, where do you get it? Will it be paid for? But there's still that separation. Republicans, Democrats say, well, this will stymie the economy. But the question is, there are some people who do bilk the system.
Sure.
And is this a safeguard for that? Is that what House Bill 2 is really designed for?
Well, House Bill 2 is really designed to get people involved in the process immediately. You know, when you start thinking day one about your resume, your education, your training, what needs to be dusted off and accentuated, and what, you know, perhaps may need some additional training, this helps assess that right up front. We want to get the person thinking immediately about, how do I find a job? And if the old job maybe isn't coming back, sometimes being told that by a third person, that, you know, maybe you need to think about a different career path. Those are important things for the individual, I think, to process and think through.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps my choice of words was too strong. I'm bilking, perhaps using the system more to your advantage.
Sure.
It is a way to look at it. But it's interesting, in a previous interview, you talked about people who don't want some particular jobs. You think there are a lot of jobs out there that pay pretty well that some people just don't want to do. Speak to that.
Sure, and we see it, you know, locally in the region, jobs that pay pretty well, full benefits, and they have a difficult time finding people to work. A couple of the key things I hear are people that decide they don't want to work certain hours, or they don't wish to be drug tested. And it's a problem. If you want a job right now in trucking, obviously you would have to pass drug screening tests to be on the road and driving things. Working around machinery as well in a factory. Highly skilled in some cases, well paying, but there are some that just simply say, I'm not interested in the drug test, and they'll continue to collect unemployment. And let me just point out that these are statistically a small number of individuals. The vast majority of people out there have worked their entire lives, their careers.
And they want to work.
And they want to work.
Continue to.
This is a first-time experience for them, and we want to help them through that. But those are the ones, you know, the ones that maybe don't want to work. They're a minority, but they're the ones that get everybody's attention that they want us to do something about.
So if you were in Washington, here's the hypothetical.
All right.
All right. Would you put pen to paper on the bill that's being debated in Congress right now?
Extension of unemployment.
Extension of unemployment benefits.
I think that they have to, but I think that the Republican calls in the House from the leadership saying we've got to find a way to pay for it is important. Washington is doing way too much spending above its income levels. For the first time worldwide, we're seeing countries that are actually questioning whether or not to base their country's currency on the US dollar because of its instability anymore. We're printing dollars, we're spending more than we have, we owe an enormous amount of debt to the Chinese government, and those aren't good factors from which to base your country's currency. And that's not good. So Washington is a big part of this problem, and I think they've got to continue to be part of the solution in helping people through this economy until they get things turned around so that we can grow jobs in America again.
You represent Wood County.
I do.
And have represented Wood County for a long time. Where is Wood County specifically in the economic recovery right now?
Well, you know, Wood County was always fortunate that we had slightly kept our head above water throughout. We typically were one of the lowest in the region unemployment, actually had grown jobs in some sectors during the economy, or during the downturn in the economy. But like every other region in Northwest Ohio, we still have those who are unemployed and struggling to find employment, and those are the folks that we've got to worry about and help right now. We need to be doing everything we can, looking at every potential tool in the tool chest to try to create a climate where people feel comfortable expanding their business, hiring more people, and getting folks back to work. And that's largely what we concentrate on day in and day out down in Columbus.
All right, and then the priority going forward in 2014, getting people back to work.
It is. I think it's going to be ongoing for a while.
Okay. Tim Brown, thanks very much. State
Anytime,
Representative,
Lee.
Ohio's
Good to be with you.
3rd District. We appreciate you coming in. It's been a rough week weather-wise, but you made the trek up I-75 and joining us
Happy
today.
to join you, Lee.
Okay. We're going to come back on Conklin & Company in just a minute. Talk about chewing the flu with David Grossman right after this.